Welcome back to Chase's Everything Shooting. Today's episode is going to be on traveling with your firearm. Now, I'm talking about traveling with your pistol. Most of you would be taking your pistol and carrying concealed or constitutional carry in different states. And that's what we're really going to be talking about today. There are going to be three items we're going to go over. One, knowing the laws of the land. Number two, preparing your firearm for travel. And number three, the TSA and local airports. So let's get to it. Number one, knowing the laws of the land. That's super important. I'm guessing that most of you are concealed carriers or constitutional carriers, and that you're going to want to take your firearm with you when you travel. I totally agree with you. For 16 years, I've traveled with my firearm, and it makes you feel a lot more comfortable, especially when you're in an area that you don't know very well. So there's some rules that you really need to think about, and that is what the concealed carries or constitutional carry laws are in the state that you're flying to or the states that you're driving to. And that's really important. And a lot of people go, hey, it's not a big deal. I can constitutional carry in these different states, and I can do this. And hey, I will tell you, from my experience, there is a lot of different laws in a lot of different states that really govern concealed carry or constitutional carry. And number one I want to go over with is I'm in Texas, okay? And I have a Texas TLC, the Texas License to Carry. Now, with that, I can do certain things and carry my firearm in certain areas. But under the Texas constitutional carry, there are areas I cannot carry in constitutionally, but with my TLC, I can carry into those areas. So every state's a little bit different, and I really want you to think about that and do your homework, because that's super important. You don't want to get caught carrying a firearm where you shouldn't be. And I want to bring this to your attention. In Texas, we have a 51% rule, and that 51% rule is for concealed carriers. Now, also that applies to constitutional carriers, but what that is that if the restaurant makes more than 51% of its income off of alcohol, you can't carry into that facility. And that makes sense, because in most states, they say you can't conceal carry into a bar. Probably smart. Drinking firearms doesn't go very well. But again, you need to know that, because if you were someone coming from outside of Texas and carrying in Texas, and you carried into a 51% restaurant, you're busted. And yes, it's definitely a misdemeanor, and depending on what happens, it can actually go to a felony. So you need to know each state's individual rules. Now, on the web, the USCCA has a reciprocity map. And that map, you click on the state that you're from, and that tells you all the reciprocity of those states that will allow you to carry into their states. Now, you still have to know those states' CCW laws. And so it's very, very important that you do your due diligence and know that if you're from Texas and you're going to Arkansas, that there are certain guidelines in Arkansas that you've got to meet. If you're going past Arkansas and you're going to Georgia, all the different states as you go, you need to know their laws in order to be able to make sure that you don't do something wrong. Super, super important. I can't really push this hard enough, is do your homework. I've talked to a lot of guys. Oh, it's constitutional carry. I don't need to know anything. La 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 la. Trust me, that is the best way to lose your privilege as a firearms owner. Pardon me. So, even though that there are a lot of states with constitutional carry, you need to know all their guidelines. Now let's talk about constitutional carry states. Okay, constitutional carry states are Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Maine, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Vermont, West Virginia, and Wyoming. Now, the important part is, yes, they are constitutional carry, and you do have some rights to carry in those states pretty easily, but you need to know what their guidelines are. And as I said, in Texas, there's different guidelines for concealed carry and constitutional carry. I think you'll find the same thing in all those other constitutional states. So know the laws of the land. Look at that reciprocity. Do your homework. It's super important. Every airline has their own regulations on how you travel with your firearm. You need to check out the airline that you're flying and find out what their regulations are. Now, the most important thing that you need to know is that you need a hard covered case. Okay, that's a TSA guideline. You can't put your firearm in a soft case. It has to be hard covered, and it has to be lockable. It has to have locks that are TSA approved. Okay, so when you go out and if you find a hardcover case, make sure it's lockable and make sure that you have TSA approved locks. I have seen and heard where they've cut locks off that they couldn't open. So super important to make sure your locks are TSA approved and that they work perfectly. Now, in your hard covered case, you're going to put your firearm in there and you're going to put your ammunition in there. Now, most airlines will not allow you to travel with loose ammunition, meaning you can't just throw a handful of 45 ACP or 9mm in your case and go. What they're going to require is that ammunition be either in the magazine or in a cardboard box that it came in, or in one of the plastic boxes like we use as reloaders, and you put that in your hard-sided case. Your firearm must always be unloaded, okay? Must be unloaded. So make sure that you follow these guidelines. Now, what I have really gotten into is making sure that I have a separate luggage tag on my firearm box, okay, inside my luggage, because when they open that up and if they want to talk to you about something, they're either going to throw your bag off to the side and try to page you, but what I do is I put my cell phone number on that luggage tag that's on my firearm box. That way the TSA can look at it and they can call my cell and say, hey, we need to talk to you about this or that. Now, it has not happened to me, but I have heard from other people that it has happened to them. So one little tip and trick that you're getting from me is put that luggage tag on your firearms box, your container that you're taking with you on your trip. Now we're going to talk about TSA and airports. Okay, carrying your firearm into an airport. Well, if you've read any federal regulations, you're not supposed to carry a firearm into an airport unless it's in a hard-sided gun case and it's in your luggage. Now, what happens is as soon as you get to the airport, you can't baggage check your bags out at the curb. I know, I used to do it for years. You can't do that. You actually have to take your luggage into the ticketing window and you have to tell the lady or the man, hey, I've got a firearm in my bag. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to fill out some paperwork. And that paperwork is your name, the flight, where it originated, where you're going. There could be a couple of other things on there, but almost every airline does this. Then you're going to have to sign it. Most cases, they will hand you that piece of paper and say, hey, you need to go down over to this special TSA area and put that in your gun case. So you go down to that special area. There's a TSA officer there who is used to dealing with people with firearms. So you open up your luggage, you take your hard case out, you unlock the locks, you put that piece of paper inside that case, then you close it up. They may want to look at it and make sure and verify that it's unloaded. I've had that happen a few times. So just be prepared that that may happen. Lock it back up and put it in your suitcase. Your suitcase does not have to be hard-sided. Now, they really would like it to be, but you don't have to be carrying your firearm in a locked case that's in a hard-sided luggage. Now, one of the things that I've seen before is that people walk up to the ticket counter and they pull that case out and they start opening up their firearm. Do not do that. It is a huge mistake. Number one, the people behind the counter don't want to deal with it. Number two, all the people behind you, a lot of them are going to freak out. So just know that there are certain areas where you're going to do that, and go to the TSA area, open it up, do what you need to do, and push through that area that you're going to be putting your bag through. They're going to x-ray your bag, okay? That TSA area, usually on the side, they've got their own x-ray. They'll x-ray it. But every time I've flown, they have actually opened my bag, put a sticker in there, said, we've opened your bag, and they've opened my gun container and put a tag in there and said, we've inspected your firearm. So be prepared that that's going to happen. Definitely put a TSA lock on your bag. I don't care if it's hard-sided or soft-sided, but put a lock on there. So you got 3 locks. You got 1 on your bag and hopefully 2 on your firearm case. This isn't rocket science, but it can get crazy at the airport with all these people going and firearms and TSA. Most of the time TSAs are pretty cool about it, but some of the people at the TSA are non-gun guys and gals, and so you've got to realize that they get a little wiggy when you've got a firearm and you've got it out and showing. So just have courtesy when you deal with the TSA. Now look, this isn't rocket science. It really, really isn't. It's very, very easy to deal with. You know, you just have to abide by the rules. And if you know the rules, it's easy to abide by them. So go out, fly with your firearm, be safe, and we'll catch you on the next round of chases, everything shooting. Do me a favor, click down below and subscribe. If you don't want to subscribe, that's okay. I get it. But do me a favor, at least like it. Because if you like it, that still helps the algorithm get out to a lot of other shooters. So thank you again. I appreciate it. And happy hunting and good shooting.